Hey guys, welcome back to the Personal Transformation Podcast. My name is Dan Storey, author of the book Personal Transformation Blueprint. And in this episode, I want to talk to you a little bit about courage. Courage. The dictionary defines courage as the ability to do something that frightens you. Okay, and Aristotle once said, "You will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor." So courage seems to be one of these things, right? And we need to have courage. We need to be brave. We need to demonstrate strength in the face of adversity. But what is it, right? And what is it? And here's the thing about courage is you don't know if you've got courage until a moment arises that both builds and reveals courage at the same time. You've got to put yourself into scary situations if you want to figure out whether you've got courage, whether you've got bravery. The challenge is most of us live every single day in our little comfort zone, right? We live in this bubble of security where we do things that are predictable, like that we've done before. Rarely do we challenge ourselves to go outside of our comfort zone, and instead we do the things that have a high degree of certainty of turning out for the best, right? So we play it safe. We tend to challenge ourselves in areas that we at least feel comfortable, and rarely do we push ourselves beyond our limits. And actually pushing ourselves beyond limits is what we're trying to do, right? This is what life is. Life is about experiencing life at its fullest. And if we're going to do that effectively, then we do need to continue pushing the boundaries. So developing courage and understanding what courage is and being able to demonstrate that in the moment is an important part of self-expression and obviously transforming and becoming the very best version of yourself. Now, as I've looked at this, I've thought, is courage the same? Is all different types of courage the same? And actually, no, it's not. I think there's 3 different types of courage, and they all demonstrate themselves in different moments. And so the 3 that we'll talk about in this episode are: 1, moment of bravery, a short moment in time where you need to be able to exhibit courage. The second one is 20 seconds of courage. It's an extended period where we need to be able to be brave, but hold on to it for long enough until it manifests. And then the third is this idea that we need to be brave across time, and actually not just for one day, not just for a few moments, but actually live our entire life. And if we're brave enough to live a lifetime on purpose, that is bravery in action each and every day. So let's have a look at those and where they may turn up. So the first one is a moment of bravery. Think about this. Think about a situation where all you need to do is be brave for a second and then it's done. That might be something like a bungee jump. Yeah, you just need to be brave enough to go, it's all right, and jump off of the thing. Maybe it's ripping off a plaster. Maybe it's a doctor giving you an injection or something like that. Or maybe it's making a cold call. You dial the number and then you just got to pick up the phone. Or diving into a cold pool. That's one of the scariest ones for me, is like you dip your toe and you're like, oh, this is so cold. But just jumping in. You just got to literally jump. There's no way to change. You can't grab hold of the edge again. You're in the air. Okay. And so in these moments, what happens is we just need a quick moment of bravery to get us over that thought of, oh, okay, well, what happens? What happens? So a short, intense period of courage, just one moment of bravery to begin the action. And after that, it's done. What's over is over. There's no going back. Okay, you cannot change your mind. This is about state management. This is about state management. This is about finding a way to fill yourself just in that one moment, or literally just before that moment, with a sense of belief, a sense of excitement, a sense of possibility. And if you look into things like Amy Cuddy's TED Talk, you can do a lot of that with physiology. You can do a lot of it with movement. So putting yourself in a powerful posture, putting yourself in a way where you feel energized, maybe listening to a piece of music or something, but generally getting yourself into a state of mind where you believe absolutely anything is possible. Okay, you can even hear it in my voice now. I'm thinking, right, I'm juicing myself up, I'm getting ready. Here I go. And if you now ask me to do something, it's just, yes, let's go. All right. And taking that option for no off of the table, just giving yourself belief that it is possible. And so in this question you want to ask yourself before you do this is, what's the worst that can happen? Always have contingency plan. Don't say, hey, Dan said everything was possible, let's go and do it, and just do something crazy and hurt yourself. Ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And oftentimes we'll imagine things worse than they possibly are. Like, but if, what's the worst that can happen if I jump into a cold pool? I'm just going to get cold for a moment, and I shake around a little bit and I warm up. And if it's the worst is I get out and dry myself off. That's the worst that can happen. And yet, how long and if you've ever watched me trying to get into a golf ball, how long do I wait and think, oh, I'll go in now, I'll try and slide in, just jump in. Yeah. So what is the worst that can happen? And then the other thing you can just tell yourself is, fuck it, let's do it, let's jump. Let's just go for it. And having that experience is so important. Okay, having that experience is so important. I was very lucky years ago. A good close group of friends, when I was about to get married, took me coast-steering for my stag do. And if you've never been coast-steering, it involves climbing up jagged cliffs on the coast of Wales and then jumping into a freezing cold sea. So they knew two things about me. They knew, number one, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and number two, I'm scared of heights. Don't like jumping from high things. And so it was a challenge for myself. But actually, all I needed to do was be brave for one moment and jump and have that experience. And it was literally just a case of saying, fuck it. So that's one thing that you need to do in those situations where you just need to quickly have a bit of bravery. Then get yourself into an emotional state, make a couple of power moves, stand tall, sit tall, breathe deep, fill yourself with energy, listen to your favorite music, then just go for it. All right, off you go. The next one is 20 seconds of courage. This is those kind of environments or those moments where things are scary, but you overcome that initial inertia, but then there's a gap between behavior and payoff. Okay, and the example that I want to give you here is, I grew up a little while ago, but back in the day of school discos, right? And if you remember school discos back in the day, boys were on one side of the room, girls were on another side of the room. And that's how it was up until the end of the night, or closer to the end of the night. And they started to kind of encourage people to get together. And you'd see boys doing this, right? They say, right, I'm going to go and talk to the girl, And they'd start to walk across the dance floor. They wouldn't walk. They did that kind of dance walk, whatever music's going on, they're kind of dancing to it. And they've got the courage to get going. But then the voice kicks in, right? And you know the voice that I'm talking about, the one of doubt, the one of insecurity, the one of what if. Yeah, what if? What if she says no? What if she rejects you? What if she laughs at you? What if her friends point at you and say, oh, look at this? What if you trip and fall? The what if machine just gets going. And the closer you get, the faster it seems to come into action. And so what you would see happen at those times is people kind of getting halfway across the dance floor and then veering off and say, I'm going to go to the bathroom, or veer the other way and say, I'm going to go and get a drink, or veer that way and say, I'm going to the cloakroom, I'm going to go home, and we're never going to talk about this again. Right? Finding a way that at some point during that, the what if machine just gets too much, and we just say, okay, it's not worth it. It's not worth this fear of rejection. And the quote, the 20 seconds of courage, actually comes from a movie called We Bought a Zoo. And I think it's Matt Damon plays a character called Benjamin Mee in there. And he says, you know, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery. And I promise you, something great will come of it. And that's the challenge, right? The challenge is to stay brave through that entire journey, that whatever comes into your head, all of those what if statements or what if questions, you're able to resist them and get them out of your mind, because there's a payoff potentially on the other side. And so all you need to do is, as those what if questions come in, ask yourself one question. What if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? What if, instead of it being the bad catastrophic way that you think it's going to be, is what if it doesn't? What if it all goes well? What if she laughs at you becomes, what if she has been waiting for me to speak to her all night? What if, and let's take it out of the kind of school dating thing, let's go into sales calls or something like that. Like we have this thing, oh, what if they shout at me for calling them? Or what if they're busy? Or what if they've been waiting for this? What if they're looking for a solution? What if they're currently evaluating options and this is the perfect time to call them? We can throw what if questions in as a negative, or we can reframe them to be positive what if questions. And so this is what you want to train your brain to think, is as soon as you hear this what if, find a way to ask a better what if question. What if that is more positive, more empowering, more useful for you, that's going to keep you focused on the optimistic outcome that could potentially come as a result of this, rather than the problem that you think is potentially going to happen, which typically never happens anyway. Okay, so other situations like this, you know, the roller coaster is an example. You're in the queue for the roller coaster, and at the back of the queue, it seems far away. You're nice and brave, but as you get closer, it gets more and more terrifying. Those kind of situations happen. What if it breaks? What if it goes wrong? Actually, what if I sit at the front and I have the most adrenaline experience of my life, and I feel fully and closely alive and energized as possible? So here's the thing. 20 seconds of bravery, hold on to that, ask yourself a better what if question. Remember, we're naturally programmed to catastrophize situations. We need to be able to ask questions and reframe those questions to be more positive. So there we go. So far we've got one single moment of bravery, just that fuck it moment, get into the right state, and off we go. We've got that 20 seconds of bravery that allows us to sustain courage over a period of time, so that even though our doubts arise, we still take action. And then the last one then is this lifetime on purpose. It's tough to do the things that are truly important to you. It is. It's tough to live every single day in a way that is true to your unique, authentic self. There are social expectations of things. We've had successes. We're far enough down the track that we've done things and that we've kind of created a life for ourselves that maybe we're semi-happy with. And we were kind of in this, what I call the trap of average. Things are pretty good, but they're not necessarily great, but they're not bad enough to change, but they're also not good enough that we're completely satisfied with life and fall into this trap of average. And so lifetime on purpose says, you know what? I'm going to find a way to live life in a way that excites me, that drives me, that gets me awake every single day, full of excitement and passion at the thought of doing something that is truly meaningful to myself. Yeah. And most people don't have that. Most people are dissatisfied in life, but never get to a point where they turn it around. That's why I wrote Personal Transformation Blueprint, to encourage people to get out of dissatisfaction, to harness it, and then look internally to see, okay, well, how can I change things? Okay. And it's that changing things. It's living in alignment with our positive vision, the self-identity that we know we have capable inside of ourselves, and live into our potential self that takes bravery. Yeah. Because identifying ourselves and saying, look, this is who we are as a person, whether that's a really good definition and description, or whether we use some form of archetype or avatar to explain a little bit more about ourselves, putting that on show and demonstrating it to the world is a very vulnerable thing to do. And we want to be our true authentic self, but that's where potentially we get rejected, right? And if they reject our true essence, then that's painful. I can be rejected as a job that I don't like, or this kind of thing that I do, but is not really that important to me. But if somebody rejects the true essence of me, then that's going to feel quite painful. But the reality is this, is the people that love us because we're us. And the people that don't love us, it's okay. That's not our audience. Not everybody has to like Marmite. Not everybody has to like, jazz. Not everybody has to like American football. It's different things for different people. And actually, you'll find that by being true to yourself, the people that you know and are closer with, you'll get closer with. And the people that are on the edge, doesn't matter as much. And I think it's Dr. Seuss says, those who mind don't care, and those who care don't mind. Something along those lines, right? Is that the people whose opinions are closest to you are the ones that you should really care about, and everyone else, like the likes, the social media, all of that kind of stuff, don't worry about it. It's just what you do for you is most important, and those closest to you. So what does living a lifetime on purpose mean? It means taking challenges. It means being authentic. It means doing the things that you want to do, that deep down in your heart you want to do, but are scared of doing. Okay, maybe you're scared of starting a business because you hear all these statistics about people failing. Well, that doesn't matter. Like, if you want to do it, make the decision it's going to happen, and then persist until it works, right? Have contingencies in place, but pursue it. Start as a side hustle, but do something that is in alignment with it. You don't have to go crazy and quit everything and just start this, but you do have to start. So it could be a business. It could be a creative endeavor. It could be that you want to paint or write or create music or something along those lines, and learn an instrument. Do it. Yeah, you're going to suck at the beginning, but you have to go through the suck to get to good, right? That's just a natural progression. We start, we're not very good. We get better, we put in practice, and eventually we become whatever level of adequate we want. Yeah. So what is it? Do you want to, what do you need to learn? What do you need to go into? That is a challenge. That is doing something scary. That is living life at its fullest potential, that is aligned with the essence of who you are. And that's scary, right? But that is true bravery, right? Anybody can jump off a cliff into some water. Like, it's an adrenaline rush, and it's scary in the moment, but it's over in a second. Anybody can challenge themselves to be brave for 20 seconds, and face rejection just once or twice a day. And it's a little scary, but that wears off. Real bravery, if we want to go for the true essence of courage, is living this lifetime on purpose. And as scary as it is, as worrying as it is, I'd say now is the easiest time to do things. The idea of side hustle or flexible work that we've got, and all of these opportunities now create flexibility that give us opportunity to try new experiences. So this is my challenge to you is for today, challenge yourself to get outside of your comfort zone. Find a way to do something scary today that's going to test some form of bravery and courage that you've got, and ultimately find a way that you can live a lifetime on purpose. I'll see you in the next episode.